Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. 3 more people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. 2 of them were in our Northwest zone, including one in the 19 years and under age group. The other was in the 70 to 79 group, with the third death being in the 60 to 69 age group in the North Central zone. There are 68 new cases in Saskatchewan, including 12 in the Northwest and 3 of those in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 50 active cases. There are 1,142 active cases province-wide, with 126 in the Northwest. Our zone has the 3rd highest number of active cases in the province, behind only Saskatoon and Regina. 102 people are in hospital, with 10 in the Northwest. More than 809,000 vaccine doses have been administered in Saskatchewan, with over 51,000 in our zone. The Bike for Breakfast team crossed the finish line, arriving back in the border city on Sunday after their over 1,000-kilometer bike ride. The 10-person team of community members traveled from Lloyd to Tufnell, Saskatchewan, and back, raising funds for local school breakfast programs. The group faced some adversity during their journey, including their team bus breaking down and some unpredictable prairie weather.
We had a few problems. So yeah, we had a bus situation. So we had a few people, superheroes, step in and help us out with some more vehicles. And we had some extreme heat, and we've had some rain, and we've had some crazy gusting winds. We've had a few tires blow. Thank God we had Jim to help us with all of our bike disasters. But we just kept going, and the next person would just go, and we just kept pushing through.
The funds are going to support school breakfast programs at the Lloydminster Public and Catholic, Northwest Buffalo Trail, and Onion Lake school divisions. While the 10 bikers dealt with issues and operated on just a few hours of sleep, they were motivated by the thought of students they're supporting.
I think a few times that came up when, a couple different issues were getting discussed, is just to remind ourselves why we're doing this. It was specifically for that, right? It's for the kids, it's for our community. And we just got to find a way to piece it together, get back here, because it's not about, the group here is amazing, but it's more so about the cause and what we're trying to do.
The Bike for Breakfast team thanks the community for their support. As of Monday, the group has raised over $270,000. Earlier today, the Rotary Club of Lloydminster hosted their virtual meeting with an update from the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation. Malcolm Radke, CEO of the Region Health Foundation, highlighted stories of local residents over the past 5 years and how the foundation has adapted to the COVID-19 pandemic.
At the end of the day, it is your neighbors and your local hospital that are here to save your life. The next time an emergency happens, whatever it is, whether it's a virus, whether it's some sort of act of war, something like that, it's really the people on the ground that band together. And COVID was certainly a reminder of that.
Radke adds that they've received amazing support from the community and throughout the pandemic. Since they're bi-provincial, funding can be difficult, and they're grateful that local groups can help. School bands in the Lloydminster Catholic School Division are saying thank you to a local business that played an instrumental part to their year.
Music classes across the country have had to do things a little differently this year, like moving them outdoors. The tent guys were approached by the Catholic School Division to see if there was a possibility to make sure the students can practice in a safe and efficient way.
So much has been taken away from the kids and all of us with COVID that it was really important to be able to give back. And this is one small way that we were able to help many kids, because all of the kids across the division are able to utilize this in the band program. And it's an important part of growing up. Music means a lot to us, and it's a way of expression. And it was wonderful to be able to give back to these kids.
Through a generous donation of $25,000 in kind, 3 large wedding-sized tents, which normally fit 150 people, were spaced out safely to support entire classrooms. The donation has given every music class in the Catholic School Division a place of comfort and success for the music programs, while providing a unique situation being outdoors.
Well, I think it's just been an extraordinary support of our community and our music programs all the way from grade 5 to grade 12. It's interesting. Some days you'll have 3 groups of band out here and a track team competing outside at the same time. And other days when there's a little bit of rain and you walk out in the parking lot, you still hear the music.
It keeps their programs going, and it's something like a performing arts like band. It's the consistency in playing is where you get that real growth. So the fact that they didn't really have any cancellations or stoppages in their programs, they're seeing great growth in their programs like they would in any other year.
Beacott and her husband know the significance of giving back in a way like this through their business, specifically to a program like music, which means a lot to many students, and they're hopeful that students today look back on this time and are thankful that they were able to still do band during COVID.
I hope the kids look back on this and are appreciative that they were able to go ahead and do it. I know in some of the other schools around the Lloydminster area, they aren't able to practice band traditionally. They're having to do some different things. So, you know, if we're able to have that positive spin, we're really proud to be a part of that.
It's now time for this week's edition of Retrospect. Here's Blake and Nath.
This week in Retrospect. Sunday. Back in 91, colossal monuments of steel and iron descend upon the city, crushing everything in their path of destruction.
We're going to start the show off with the introduction of all our monster trucks.
Monster Truck Madness made its return to Lloydminster Wednesday at the exhibition grounds. This was a new and improved version from last year's show, and the close to 2,000 in hand definitely was revved up about the show. Lloydminster was another stop in the Monster Truck Western Canadian Tour. Next stop is Brandon, Manitoba. The tour itself is growing in leaps and bounds over the last few years. Even though some may think the ticket price was a bit too high, that didn't seem to keep people away. As well as selling at the gate, the selling of the souvenirs is making monster trucks into a monster of a business.
And in 96, a local art enthusiast lobbies for the construction of a modern performance art center.
Most business people and arts people realize it's the next major facility required by Lloydminster.
Ross Ulmer is the chairman of a committee looking at the viability of a drama theater in Lloydminster. The committee is made up of members from both school boards, the City of Lloyd, and several interested businesses. They're studying community support, financial needs, and operating guidelines.
We hope to, by the middle of July, give a not too thick document to the City Council, to the governments that might have to look at funding, and to the arts groups. And at that point, the city's going to have to make a decision, do we want to spend the money on it?
Ulmer says it's not a question of whether or not the facility is necessary.
But currently our performing arts are all in gymnasiums. That's the equivalent for a hockey team of playing in an outdoor rink right now. It's abysmal facilities for performing arts.
The arts community is echoing that sentiment.
We have sports facilities, and many of them have been upgraded and built onto or improved over the years. But unfortunately, at this point, we're still lacking in a theater, a performing arts theater.
And that's all for this week in Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Now here's Shelby Clark with the first look at your weather forecast.
Thanks so much, Connor. Now taking a first look at our weather forecast here. As you can see that we are not as warm at all like last week when we were sitting in that 30-degree mark there, but I think this week with having all this precipitation is going to be very important, especially with the crops and farmers here in Saskatchewan. So I think all the precipitation this week will be very well needed and will move back up next week. But today in the border city, we are sitting at a high of 11 with a little mix of some sun and clouds. And moving to temperatures across central Alberta and Saskatchewan, Jasper is the coldest, sitting at 5 degrees there. Rocky Mountain House is at 8, as well as in Edson. Whitecourt and Athabasca are at 14 and 13, while Edmonton is also at 13 degrees. And Red Deer is sitting at 12 degrees. But later today, there is going to be some funnel clouds developing all the way from Red Deer here to Lloydminster. And it won't be a serious threat, but just make sure that you're watching for any weather warnings just in case something does develop a little bit more throughout the night. Now on the Saskatchewan side here, Meadow Lake and Prince Albert at 15 and 12 degrees, Melford's at 18, and Saskatoon is the warmest, sitting at 22 22 degrees, and North Battleford is at 19. Now, speaking of North Battleford overnight, they will be sitting at a high of 4 overnight, and tomorrow they will be at 19 with a high chance of some precipitation. Cold Lake overnight will be at 7 degrees, and tomorrow they'll be at 19 as well, but no precipitation, but cloudier skies. Here in Lloydminster overnight, we will moving into a little bit chillier with a high of 5 overnight with a little more clear skies, but tomorrow we will be seeing some precipitation as well, sitting at 18 degrees. Now moving into our 3-day forecast here. Tuesday we'll be seeing a high of 18 and a low of 5 with some precipitation there. And on Wednesday we will also be seeing a high chance of some precipitation as well with a high of 19. So it will be a little bit warm this week, but we will just be seeing a lot of rain. And Thursday we will be ending off here with a high of 16 and a low of 13 with a little bit more precipitation as well. That is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
For the 27th time in history and for the first time since 2016, Team Canada has won gold at the Men's Ice Hockey World Championships. While Canada is not usually considered the underdog in hockey, this year was different. Myself and Evan Kenny have more on the historic tournament. Well, Evan Kenny is joining us for the sports panel, and we're talking about the World Hockey Championships wrapped up very recently, Evan, with Canada taking home another gold medal. Evan, it's a very interesting storyline. I guess it's a very heartwarming storyline, to say the least, because at the beginning of the tournament, everyone pretty much wrote Canada out, starting 0-3, losing to teams like Latvia and, Kazakhstan as well. So talk about this team and how they rallied around together to end up winning the tournament.
Yeah, well, Connor, people counted them out even before they started off 0-3. Just looking at those rosters before the tournament started, while Canada, yes, is obviously the powerhouse of the hockey world, that roster was not really looking like a typical Canadian roster that you would see. So they were kind of counted out from the beginning. And then just to add on to that, starting off 0-3, like you said, barely making the quarterfinal rounds there. It was really just an uphill climb the entire way. Connor, up until this past tournament here, a single team who went 0-3 in the men's or the women's tournament had never won. So it was definitely an uphill climb there. But as the games got more important, as the tournament got along going, Canada's offense really started to click, and for me, it really started in that power play. I mean, you look in the finals, they potted a couple power play goals there, and that was a huge key to getting their offense going and ultimately winning the championship there.
And of course, with Finland's goalie playing absolutely unreal, one of the highlight players of that tournament. And another highlight for Canada, I guess, on the bench was Gerard Gallant, the way that he rallied his team around together. Of course, he's an unrestricted free agent when it comes to coaching, so it won't be surprising that he's going to end up somewhere in the NHL next year. So just talk about his impact and what he had to say in that room throughout that tournament when they were down.
Yeah, I mean, Connor, this is his second gold medal at the World Championships, first one as a head coach there. And I mean, when he was let go by the Vegas Golden Knights 2 years ago there, I think everybody, the entire hockey world was shocked. Gerard Gallant is such a good coach, and he's so good at rallying the troops in such a short amount of time. I mean, he turned around the Florida Panthers franchise before he went over to Vegas. Obviously, we all know what he was able to do with Vegas in that first season there. And then, in this World Championship here, team starts off 0-3, that veteran leader of a coach, he was able to turn that group around and really get them going. Another thing that I love, Connor, about Gerard Gallant is he's so good with these young players. I mean, we saw it at the World Cup of Hockey a number of years ago when he was the head coach of Team North America, that Young Guns team. I mean, he just works so well with these young guys, and they do a great job of buying in. In my opinion, Connor, I think he will be going to the Seattle Kraken this upcoming season, and wow, is Seattle lucky to have a great coach if he does end up going there.
And of course, there are a few other options for him. Columbus and the Rangers have spoken extensively with Gerard Gallant. Speaking of Seattle, of course, they are holding the number 2 spot in the draft. And there were a few draft-eligible players in this tournament, including Canada, Owen Power, and for the USA, Matt Beniers, expected to go 1-2 by some mock drafts there, Evan. So talk about some of these draft-eligible players and how they performed on this stage against the men.
I mean, Connor, Owen Power just jumped off the page there. He had a fantastic tournament, and in my opinion, he really solidified himself as the #1 overall pick at this upcoming draft. I mean, obviously, he's a huge body defenseman, but he's got the strength and the maturity that quite often you don't see from those young defensemen. Typically, young D-men take a couple more years than a forward do to develop, which might scare off some teams, but Owen Power is really the whole package. I mean, you saw his skating ability, his mental awareness. He was fantastic and able to join in on the rush. Now, he only had 3 points in those 10 games, but he was an absolute force in those last 3 games. He played a minimum of 24 minutes in each game, including 27 against the U.S. there. So, I mean, just a fantastic D-man there. And then Matt Beniers, not quite the same pedigree in my mind as Owen Power, but still a fantastic skilled forward who, like you said, could be a projected #2 overall, possibly the top forward in this upcoming draft here. So it'll be interesting to see, how playing against these pro guys, how the scouts take that into account.
And of course, with Beniers, it wasn't a huge opportunity for him. He didn't play a whole lot of minutes, like you said there. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with the draft. And of course, it's always fun to watch some young guys at this tournament. And one of the last things, Evan, was just standout players to you. For me, I'll start here with Connor Brown, of course.
Tournament before the tournament started, he was given the captaincy. So I mean, the team was leaning on him in the dressing room. But then when 11 points, I mean, he just really came to play, scoring a goal in that final game. Really, Canada, a lot of the guys, they found their role as the tournament went on, but I think Adam Henrique had a huge role on and off the ice there.
And of course, also one of the last things we're going to talk about here is really quickly here. We're going to mention it later this week here on Primetime Local News. Some big news out of Lakeland today with the announcement of the women's hockey team. Evan, I know it's still early, but what do we know so far?
Yeah, well, so far, they're going to be starting in the Alberta Junior Female Hockey League there before joining the ACAC in the fall of 22. It's all pretty early as of right now, Connor, but this will be a community-based team, and, they're really hoping to expand the Lloydminster female hockey culture here, which has just been exploding there. So big things coming from Lakeland College soon.
And it's really exciting to see, and hopefully they can be joining the ACAC and add another team to the Rustlers family. Evan, Kenny, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Connor.
Now here's Shelby Clark with another look at your weather forecast.
Thanks so much, Connor. Now taking a second look at your weather forecast here, we're going to look at temperatures more specifically across the region here. On the Alberta side here, Wainwright and Provost are sitting at 13 degrees. Edmonton, Vegreville, and Vermilion are at that 15 to 16 degree mark there. St. Paul's at 12, and Bonnyville and Cold Lake are a bit warmer at 16 degrees, and Lac La Biche is at 14. Now here on the Saskatchewan side here, Isle Cross is the warmest at that 18 degree mark there. Green Lake is at 17, as well as Maidstone and North Battleford. Meadow Lake is at 15, while Pierceland and St. Walburg are at 14 degrees, and Macklin is actually the warmest at 19 degrees. Now moving into our northern region here, they are a little bit chillier, especially up in Uranium City, Stony Rapids, and Wollaston Lake are at that 9 to 11 degree mark. South End is at 16, while Flin Flon's at 15, La Ronge is at 12, and Buffalo Narrows and La Loche are at 15. Up on this side here, High Level is at 12 degrees, and Fort Chipewyan is at 12 as well. Fort McMurray is at 10 degrees, and Slave Lake, Peace River, and Grand Prairie are ranging from that 13 to 14 degree mark. And now moving into more of the southern region here, they are looking at a little bit warmer temperatures, a couple degrees warmer here. Banff is actually a little bit chilly at 9 degrees, but Coronation is at 14 and Calgary is at 12. Medicine Hat and Lethbridge are at 20 and 18 degrees. And on this side here, Regina and Moose Jaw are and Estevan are actually at the warmest with that 24-25 degrees. Yorkton's at 22, and Kindersley and Swift Current are 19 and 20. But looking at temperatures across the region overnight, there we go, sorry, my thing wasn't working there. Looking at temperatures overnight, Meadow Lake, Bonnyville, and Provost are all at 6 degrees there. Isle Cross will be a little bit warmer at 10. Paradise Hill, Murnum are at 7 degrees, as well as in Wainwright. Unity is the chilliest at that 4 degrees there, and Pierceland is at 8. But we all will be mostly seeing in these places more clear skies overnight, except for in Bonnyville and Murnum, they will be seeing some precipitation. Now tomorrow for temperatures across the region, they will be warming up just a little bit there, kind of still still around that 19, as you can see, 19 to 20 degree mark. But we will be seeing some precipitation here in Lloydminster tomorrow, just so you can expect to get some rain throughout this week. Now taking a quick look at our 7-day forecast. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as I was saying, we will see precipitation with a high of 18 on Tuesday, high of 19 on Wednesday, and a high of 16 on Thursday, and a little bit more cloudier skies, so we won't be seeing as much sun. But like I was saying before, this precipitation is very well needed throughout this week. Friday, we'll be starting off this weekend with a high of 16 on Friday with a little mix of some sun and cloud. Saturday and Sunday, we'll pick it up a little bit more with a high of 20 and a high of 25 on Saturday and Sunday with a little bit of sun peeking behind those clouds. But as we move into next week, we will be getting way more warmer in those temperatures there with a high of 28 on Monday with a little bit more sun. That is a second look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break. I'm joined here with Skylar Young with the Lloydminster and District SPCA. Thanks so much for joining us today. Now, lately, we've seen lots of support and fundraisers for the SPCA, which is really great to see. And now you are even having merch for sale. How did the idea come up to start selling clothes?
Yeah, for sure. We wanted to do merch for a while now. Just with COVID and everything, it hasn't been very easy, but we reached out to It's Time Promotion and they set us up really well. They gave us lots of support and we found 3 designs to choose from. And then there's also 4 different colors. So yeah, it's really nice. I really like the hoodies and the t-shirts, but yeah.
And what are the proceeds exactly going towards from all these, from all the merchandise?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of it is going towards vet bills. So any medications, we spay and neuter every animal that is adopted out, as well as any emergency care like amputation, stuff like that, as well as food and any other essential supplies we need to give the best treatment to these homeless animals until we find their forever homes.
Which items would you say that the SPCA is wanting people to get the most that they need help with right now?
Well, we're always in need of kitten and puppy food. A litter is another one that we always need, toys, litter pans, stuff like that, but yeah.
Could you expand a bit on which items are available for all the merchandise?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we have 3 designs. One of them says, I like big mutts and I cannot lie. That's one of my favorites. Then we also have just adopt, save a life with a paw print. And then the other one says the best things in life are rescued. And then, yeah, we have 4 different colors. They come in black, blue, red, and purple. And the size ranges are from small to 3XL. And we also have youth and adult sizes.
Since posting about the merchandise online, what was reaction like from residents so far?
I think people are pretty excited. It is a good way to support us. If you don't have the time to volunteer or to foster, it is a great way to help the animals. So I think the community has been very excited about this.
And where can people find all the information for the merch online?
You can check out our Facebook page. We are working on getting it on our website, so it is a bit easier to access. And then also on itpromo.ca is where you can buy them online. And then there is shipping options as well as a pickup option in Lloyd.
And how else can people help support this if they aren't interested in purchasing any of the clothes?
Just sharing the word. If you don't have the funds to purchase one yourself, that's totally understandable during these times. But just sharing it, telling your friends and family is a great way to get involved.
From your own perspective, how does it feel to see how strong the support has been from residents for the SPCA, especially through the pandemic?
It's been awesome. Honestly, we wouldn't be able to keep thriving without them. So it's been so amazing to have such a loving and supportive community come together, especially during this time.
Now, if there's lots of support for the merchandise for the SPCA, do you guys plan to come out with more merchandise in the future and have this going all year long and every year from now on?
We are planning on, depending how successful this is, we want to create more designs and more color options. So yeah, we plan on keep continuing with this.
Perfect. Is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about concerning the merchandise?
Not that I can think of, other than you can pay credit, debit, or PayPal. And then yeah, $15 from each hoodie goes towards us, and then $10 from each t-shirt goes towards us. So yeah, if you are able to, it is a great way to help the animals.
Perfect. Well, thanks again so much for joining me today, Skylar.
Thanks for having me.
I'm joined here with Laura Witch with the Home Hardware Building Center, Lloydminster. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, with the housing insecurity here, Home Hardware is wanting to help through the month of June with the Give Me Shelter campaign. What's exactly this all about?
So actually it was an initiative started by local artist Dawn Lawrence Flowen, and she has created these absolutely gorgeous jewelry pieces. We have bracelets, charms, and necklaces available. And she's created these gorgeous pieces that are available for sale at Home Hardware. And as well, we are accepting monetary donations through the tills. We have a couple different packages that are available for people to contribute, anywhere from $25 all the way up to $1,300. And they go towards supporting these organized products that people experiencing housing difficulties might need. Items like grooming packages, clothes for an interview, all the way to meals and keeping the shelter doors open longer. So between the two, the jewelry and the monetary donations, we're really hoping to have a big impact with these organizations and provide them with some much needed funds.
What made Dawn and Home Hardware decide to do this for the month of June?
So it's a great way to support some local organizations and provide them with much needed funds that they need to keep their doors open and keep providing to residents of Lloydminster who are experiencing issues with housing.
Now, which organizations will the donations be going towards?
So we're supporting the Interval Home, the Men's Shelter, the Drop-In Center, and the Lloydminster Youth Center as well.
Are you able to share what specific types of jewelry will be involved?
So we have necklaces of 2 different lengths available for purchase, as well as some charms and some bracelets. They are all handmade. They are designed with a little house with a heart for a door. And as well, it comes with a gemstone attached to. They're high quality silver pieces, and they're absolutely gorgeous.
Can you expand a bit more on how else people can help support this fundraiser if they are interested in buying the jewelry?
Sure. We are accepting donations at the till. There are different packages available. People can purchase a package for someone all the way from $25 up to $1,300, from grooming packages, clothing for an interviews, meals, keeping shelter doors open longer, stuff like that. And we will accept monetary donations of any kind, and 100% of those proceeds are going back to these organizations.
Why do you believe having this Give Me Shelter campaign is so important for people in the community right now, especially through June and through COVID-19?
I think the pandemic has highlighted just how important home is. And it's more than just a place, it's a feeling, it's that safety that you experience at home. So even if we're just looking at some of these organizations only offer a temporary solution, and people need a safe place to go temporarily for whatever difficulties they're experiencing in their life.
And for people interested, where can they purchase the jewelry and find more information about this?
So the jewelry is available at Home Hardware Building Center here in Lloydminster. It's available at our jewelry counter, and donations can be made through the tills, either at the lumber desk or at front cash. And we have lots of information on our Facebook, social media, Instagram, and you can check us out online too, hhloyd.com.
Is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about?
We're really grateful to the city of Lloydminster and surrounding area. They always step up for initiatives like this, and the amount of support that the residents of the city have provided is just phenomenal. So we really hope we can do some good for these organizations as well as monetary support.
Perfect. So thanks again for joining me today, Laura.
No problem.
Now taking a final look at your 7-day forecast here. Tuesday we will be seeing a high of 18 and 19 on Wednesday and a high of 16 on Thursday. And as I was saying, there will be a lot of precipitation this week, so expect to see a lot of rain. But Friday and Saturday starting off this weekend, we will be seeing a high of 16 on Friday with a little bit more sun and no rain to be expected. Saturday we'll be seeing a high of 20 with a little bit more sun peeking behind those clouds. Sunday we'll be ending off the weekend with a high of 25, so a bit warmer, but we will have a 60% chance of some precipitation there. And Monday we will see a high of 28 and a low of 12.
Thanks for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a good night.